All right, guys, welcome back to Zando Football. Definitely appreciate the support in this video. I want to get into my most used defense against empty sets, and I'll show you the subtle. So I'll go ahead and get into the rules of the coverage really quickly. Notice how I moved the quarter flat down there. All right. So I'll throw it up on screen right now. There it is. Those are the rules. And I'll take it down and I'll go over it by telestrator really quickly. All right, so the bubble, when you call palms, you got to know where the bubbles are. This is our bubble here. All right, so we have 3 defenders matched up against 2 receivers. So we have our +1. And then the bubble is here, where we have 3 defenders over 2 receivers. And then this is where we get our one-on-one. All right. And the benefit of palms, I want you to think about this. If you think about when people run empty, which receiver do they throw to the least? All right. And the answer would be one of these 2 guys. All right. Usually when they run empty, they're trying to attack inside. Think about it. When you run tight sets where you have, 2 receivers here, 2 receivers here, and the back is here. Usually what they're trying to do is they're trying to break to the outside because they've created more space for those receivers to run into. So when they condense the sets down, usually it's because they're trying to break out. And when they spread you out, usually they are trying to attack inside. Okay, and when they are trying to attack inside, most of the time they are trying to attack with these inside interior receivers. All right, so when you pick cover 4 quarters, all right, the bubble would be here. Okay, that wouldn't change. They would play a little bit differently on the outside. I can make a video on how they play in quarters and palms, the differences or whatever on the outside. But when you call quarters, the bubble would be here. All right. I haven't checked this, but I'm just going off of all of the prior Maddens. All right. And theoretically, this is where you would get a lot of one-on-one matchups in quarters. And the problem with that is, if we're one-on-one and you're going to attack with your inside receivers the most, this is probably not a good idea because you have a wide receiver matched up against a Mike linebacker. All right. So palms is the better way to go. So instead of us getting one-on-one here, our one-on-one is here, and we can help out our Mike linebacker. All right. Now, the concept is our corner and our safety are both on a 2-1 read. All right, 1 to 2. All right. This guy's route dictates who we are going to play. All right. If he runs a vertical route, let's say we get a route combination like this. All right. I'm reading 2. Is 2 running a vertical route? Yes, he is. Then I man that route man to man. The outside corner is also reading the number 2. So he's going to read the number 2 and he's looking to feel out the receiver as he's doing it. And at this point in the route, when he notices that he's running a vertical route, he knows that the safety is going to take that man-to-man, and then he's going to attach to number 1 and play him man-to-man, right? So in a route combination like this, it would look like we call regular quarters coverage. Where palms changes is when the number 2 goes out. This is where it's different from regular quarters. All right, remember, both of us are reading the number 2. All right, so the safety, he's reading number 2. If the number 2 runs out, then I'm not going to take the number 2. Now I'm going to kick my eyes to number 1 and play the vertical route of number 1. The corner on the outside was reading number 2. When he sees the number 2 go out, he will get off of that receiver and play that route with outside leverage man-to-man. It's a way to trap route combinations like the Ohio passing concept. It's a way to be aggressive on RPOs if they had a back here, right, with that RPO action and throw the bubble. Okay, this is where he can attach to an outbreaking route. All right. On this side, safety is reading 3 to 2, and the nickel is reading 3 to 2. All right. They're both reading this player. Okay. And if this receiver runs a vertical route, let's say we get a route combination like this, okay? The safety is going to take that route man-to-man because it's a vertical route. right? So if he runs a crossing, deep crossing, a post, a deep corner, it doesn't matter. I'm going to man that route man to man because he's vertical, and that's my responsibility. All right. The nickel who's reading the number 3 as well. Okay, let's say we get something like this. At the snap of the ball, he's reading 3, reading 3. All right. And once he notices he's running a vertical pattern, he knows that the safety is going to take that route man to man. So now I get my eyes on number 2 because I'm taking the vertical of number 2, right? So in a route combination like this, we would get something like that, right? Again, where it changes, it's the same thing over here, right? Where if this guy goes out, right? So you should know what's going to happen here. They're both reading the 3. When he runs out, all right, I got him. And I know that my nickel has him. So now I'll take the vertical of the number 2. Okay. So what I do with this coverage, okay, so these are our quarter flat defenders. He's not really a quarter flat. Maybe that's a poor way of putting it. Okay. So I'll just say palms quarter flat. All right. So I just went over his responsibilities. But the quarter flat on this side, what I do on the weak side of empty is I take that quarter flat and I mug him on the outside hip of the defensive end. And what I'm trying to do is simulate or give the illusion that we are bringing a potential pressure. And who I will user the 3 rack and I will mug him inside and play inside on one of these gaps. I want to give the illusion that we are bringing max pressure. All right, so why don't we go ahead and play? I'll stop running my mouth. There we go. All right. And we can take a look and see what happens. All right. So notice how everyone matched down the field. So I'll go back and I'll draw on the route combination he had drawn there. Okay, so this is what a lot of guys do. I mean, what a lot of people will do is they will just run everyone up the field and scan with their eyes. And the second they see any empty space, they just rip it in there. Okay, so we could see how is this going to match, right? He should match that, right? Because I'm reading the number 2. Okay, he's vertical. I should match that. We are both reading 3 to 2. 3 is vertical, so he should match that. He should match that. And we know he's man to man on this guy. So everyone matches down the field, okay? This guy is the quarter flat. He can't reroute this receiver. This is one of the disadvantages of running this coverage when we bring him in. He can't reroute this guy, okay? In a traditional alignment, he will reroute him so he doesn't get a free release at the safety. But we kind of give them this free release in exchange for giving the illusion that we are bringing pressure, okay? So he's going to flare out and get vision on the quarterback and play in the curl area. And what I do is, as the 3 rack, what you want to do is you want to eliminate the quick seam throw to the 3. That's what you want to do, okay? But we still want to give the illusion that we are bringing pressure. All right. So what I'll do is I'll mug this gap, and at the snap of the ball, your very first assignment is to get out of there and get in the window of the number 3. All right. So you should see me do that. So, if I were to play in this gap, it would be impossible for me to do that. So a lot of times I will mug this gap. If I fear that he may rip it in there really quickly at the snap of the ball, maybe I will mug this gap. So no matter what, I'm able to take away that quick throw. All right. And I just read my opponent from there and try to get in the window of these underneath crossers. All right, so snap the ball. Look how I close off that throw. He can't rip it here. Everyone matches, and then this is where I notice, okay, he's just going to run off with the quarterbacks. It's something that we will account for later on in the game. I think in this game, all he did was run empty. All right, so this is where I put this guy in a spy. I get in the window of the 3, all right? And look, the safety is going to take that man-to-man. Number 2 runs inside, so now he's matching that man-to-man because 3 is vertical, so he doesn't have him. And look, he's just running an underneath crosser with 4 verts. So now he has to fit it in a narrow window. Why is that? Because the quarter flat at the snap of the ball, okay, gets depth and he widens and he's just getting in the curl area and he's getting vision on the quarterback. Okay, so he has to make a perfect throw in here and almost triple coverage, and he does, okay? And I'm okay with that because you're either gonna get a really big hit, and if you're off by a little bit, this is where we can get an interception. All right. So I run it again, and a counter that I will do with this coverage, guys, is I will also bring this guy in and then actually blitz him. Or I'll bring the 3-rec in as myself, and I'll blitz him as well, and then I'll user the safety and move him in. And now I know I just man the vertical of the number 3. Now you may be afraid of that, but after you pair that with doing this, now whenever you do this, they have to honor the potential of a pressure coming. And I'm telling you guys will start making mistakes when you do this. All right, so we can imagine if they had a route combination like this. Okay, and then we bring the pressure here. Bring in, and we bring them here. Okay, this wouldn't be a busted coverage because he's reading 2-to-1. He would match that man-to-man. He's reading 2-to-1, 2's vertical, so I match this guy man-to-man. I'd be using the safety, so I would attach that to that inside. He's reading 3-to-2, 3's vertical, so he knows the safety has him, so he would attach this, and then he would be meg with this. And then we would have a 6-man pressure coming, and the ball would have to come out quick because you only have 5 blocking 6. Okay. You can also do things to where you mug this gap, you blitz this guy, and at the snap of the ball, you get out of there. You just want the center to look your way, and now you got 3 rushing 2 on this side. Okay, there's a lot of different games you can do with this Palms coverage because we know how the rules work. In previous Maddens, when they had this guy play a lot better on that out by the number 2, what would happen is I would do this, blitz this guy sometimes, bring the safety more inside. And the alignment alone, my opponent would see that, an inside safety, see that I'm blitzing this guy, and he would turn this guy into an out, snap the ball, throw the out, and this guy would jump that. All right, but they play a little bit too passive on the break trap out here in Palms. Hopefully they fix that this year. So let's see what happens here. All right, I noticed the hot route there. So that's why notice how I wanted to mug this gap, and when I saw that hot route exchange, all right, you know what? I want to make sure you don't throw that seam read because it looks like a lot of space when I mug this gap. Snap, okay, get in the window of the seam. You can't throw it. And I also quarterback contain too with the QB spy because he runs around. So now we kind of keep him in the pocket, and then we have a spy here. So, he can't just run up the field when we're in match coverage. And look, again, guys, he's running 4 verts. We're matching up the field, man to man, inside leverage, inside leverage, inside leverage, inside leverage. And now you're trying to fit a ball with an underneath crosser with a QB spy, someone sitting in a curl window, the guy matching underneath in man-to-man coverage, and the terrible user and myself getting in the seam window and then now reading the underneath concepts and trying to help out. But there really is no concept. It's the thing with people online. They just run empty, run 4 verts, and run somebody underneath. Okay, so he's going to throw this and try to rip it in there. And that is a release. Again, there's no room for error here. Oh, this is where he threw a pick. He threw a pick. So if he would have threw it right there, maybe a fraction of a second too late, and we're able to undercut that, right? So maybe he tried to back shoulder this because he noticed that this guy was in front of the window for the throw, and this guy's able to undercut this for an interception. All right, another game. I notice Gunflex Trey. And again, I go to Palms. I'm going to probably do the same stuff, right? Yep. Quarter flat in. Move this guy in, 3-rec. Notice the hot route. Now I get over. A little bit late to get in that window. And now, so once I get in the window and he goes vertical, that's not my job anymore. All right. The safety is going to take that vertical route. All right. So now we look underneath and we notice from the weak side, we have 2 crossers. So we're in prime position here to just cut off the inside of these routes. I don't know which one I did. All right, so he had nowhere to go. So this is a win for the defense. We just didn't get pressure, right? So we can see, we can look at the route combination here. Yeah, he just ran two underneath routes. So you may say that's not a win for the defense. That is if we get ample pressure, right? So that's where I started doing QB contain. What I don't like in this game is, I have a monster here, and I've noticed he really just doesn't get adequate pressure the way he does in real life. So maybe I should move him around a little bit more. Again, and this is where you can play games up front. You get in the under front, you move him to the three technique inside, and that under front, let's, God, I talk too much, dude. It's bad. Say we put the three, we get in like an under type deal. This guy stays here, so he's not here. You get a one technique here, so he's not here. All right, and we keep this guy here. And then we move our stud to here. Okay. What that does, so I'm gonna start doing this, I think, in game, is now instead of him being one-on-one with the left tackle, he'll be one-on-one with the left guard, an inferior pass protector inside. All right. That's another way you can kind of deal with empty. All right, because it's just hard for them to double team the three technique with the one on the center here. The center is forced to kind of deal with this. Obviously, the left tackle has to deal with the outer rusher. So your three technique is one-on-one with the guard. And this is where you can move this guy inside, get in that front to get him one-on-one with this player inside. This is another way you can deal with empty. One of the weaknesses of empty is you are forced to play five-man protection. All right, that's one of the weaknesses of empty, obviously, right? So we can kind of get in fronts to guarantee that we get like one-on-ones and where we like matchups. So this is where I can kind of move my monster in that three technique, get a one here, get an outside rusher, and then we can guarantee one-on-one action here. All right, so that's thinking that on the fly. I think I went over that in the previous video with an under front. All right, so let's go ahead and run it. I don't remember what happened here. Okay, so now I start blitzing here. So on the weak side, again, I moved a quarter flat from the weak side, and now I blitz him, and he snapped the ball before I was ready. So I was going to move the safety in and then take the three rec and move him in and use it a three rec. I don't know what I was going to do here. Okay, but he snaps the ball as I'm moving the safety. So right away we see he's tired of whatever it is that I'm doing. All right. And now he wants to quick snap the ball. That's fine. We know our responsibilities. All right. What are we doing? We are reading 2-1. If 2 goes out, then I know I have to cap the number 1 and take him man-to-man. If 2 goes vertical or inside, anything but out, I have to take the route. All right. Oh, so I clicked off at the last second by accident. So that messes me up there, right? But you see what he had to get rid of the ball. Let's go back and look at the blitz. Yeah, look how we get the 2-on-1 there, right? There's the 2-on-1. Oh, and I think I included a pirate stunt here. All right, so there's just too much to talk about, guys. I can't go over everything. You see how long my videos are. I don't mean for them to be too long. I've noticed guys complaining about the length of videos on other content creators, so I try not to be 10, 15 minutes, but it's just some things it's just hard to condense down in a 3-minute video. I really just don't believe in here's the answer, guys. Do this, do that, and do this, and then you're done. Like that's just I really want to throw stuff on your plate to kind of get you thinking in a particular direction, and you can kind of add to it or come up with your own stuff. It's more about concepts, not about just plays, right? So here we get a pirate stunt, and I would imagine with this looping action this way, he draws the guard going this way, and then this is where we get the 2-on-1 with the tackle. One guy can't block 2. See that guard? Okay, he's turning to the strong side. This is where we get a 2-on-1, so now he has to get rid of the ball. If I didn't accidentally click off at a safety, I would have been hard inside on this. And I probably would have stayed in this window, seeing this guy inside here, and make sure I take over the outside slant coming in. So he rips it in there. That's okay. But again, it's all about throwing something in your toolbox to use. Go cover 4 palms and give them this pressure look. Again, bring the quarter flat from the weak side of the formation, put them outside hip of your rusher, take the 3 rec, user him, and bring him in and mug one of these gaps. We want to give the illusion that 6 can come right off of the lines. You got to make a quick decision, and then we pop out of there and we match. All right, and then sometimes from the same look, we will bring a pressure. We start adding stunts to get a numerical advantage, to get pressure on the quarterback. Look, he came scot-free again. He came scot-free again. I don't know if I had that pirate stunt. I don't think I did this time. Yeah, this time I had a regular rush, but the center looked strong. So now we get a 3-on-2 on this side, and this guy's coming scot-free at the quarterback. He's got to get rid of the ball. He doesn't have enough time. This is the problem with empty guys. You know, guys snap the ball and they're getting all day to throw, and then they just wait and attack empty space because your defense cannot cover for 7 seconds. It's just impossible to do. All right, guys, I got to wrap this up. So we'll move into the next play. Let me go ahead and play this. So this is me going through the... Here's another issue with the game, guys. They've done a great job in including these stunts. Okay, so now I screwed that up there. Let me go back here. There it is. They've done a great job in including these stunts. But one thing that they need to fix with the stunts is this right exit 2-man, right text 2-man, right this, left that. You really want weak exit 2-man, weak text 2-man, or strong text 2-man, because you know a lot of times you're running a stunt predicated on strength. Okay, so there's a lot of times where yes, this is good where pre-snap, before we come out in our formation, I can pick the stunt that I want to run. But sometimes, let's say I'm running this over front, and let's say the tight end lines up over here, and I have a stunt that I want to run to the weak side from this over front. Okay, well, when I pick left exit 2-man, and then we come out and the tight end actually lines up over here, well, now I have the stunt coming on the left over here where I did not want it to be ran. I wanted it to be run on the weak side. Okay, so you almost have to guess which side they're going to line up in the strength. I think that is a minor mishap on behalf of EA here, probably because this is their first year. I don't want to say first year because we had stunts before in a previous Madden and they took it out. So this is the first reintroduction of stunts. Okay, but they really, hopefully word gets back to them. I think they really got to fix that. All right, because it's hard to develop a strategy with a weak side blitz and you have a stunt that you want to go along with it, but you have to wait till you get on the field to see where the passing strength is there because you don't want to do right exit 2-man on the wrong side and then they align the strength on the opposite side. I'm hoping making sense there. So that's kind of annoying. So right here, I'm just randomizing really, and I don't like doing that. All right, I really don't. But we'll go ahead and run it. So I don't know what I did here. We're going to see. Obviously, see, the good thing about what I've shown so far in these videos is everything looks the same. All right, so I've went over, hot quarters, and I'll make a video on hot quarters and palms. All right, and what we're doing is we're calling palms no matter what, and then we're setting up in this fashion, and then we're making minor adjustments based upon what we want to do. So we'll see what I decided to do here. Okay, so I decided to just run palms, all right, because he's kicking out. I should get in the window of this 3 here. I do. And now we have this crossing action. I pass him off to the safety. I should hang in the window here. And I was too far wide. That's okay. So, you can't think that, okay, they got a first down. I think that was the last video. Yeah, it was. I don't want you to think that because your opponent got a first down that that is a negative for the defense. Yeah, that's, you know, it's not a good thing that they got a first down, but a lot of times gathering information on what they did in response to your alignment and what you did on the defensive side of the ball will give you enough information to lay traps for the future or play differently from the future or have a different coverage from the same look that will take away what they are trying to do. Okay, it's a cat and mouse game. All right, so that was the video. This video was to give you one of the things that I use against empty sets. Again, we call palms. All right, and I will make subtle adjustments to remain in palms, or I will play hot quarters, which is, again, another coverage that I'll go over in a later video. And here's one more thing. I'll go ahead and do this. The video's long anyway. Might as well add this in here. We can go over alignment here. All right, so I didn't go over it in this video in detail. The video will be way too long. But what I mean by alignment is because this safety, remember, he's in a 3-2 read. Okay, so he's reading the 3. If 3 is vertical, then he has to match that man to man. All right, and the issue is the alignment here that can be taken advantage of because he will have a greater advantage to the inside, being that this guy's playing outside. And this is where you can get into the safety alignment feature, the midpoint feature. I didn't go over it, but maybe you could select safety midpoint weak, I believe would be the one where maybe this guy would align further outside and the safety will align further this way because it's the weak side of the formation. And then he would be in better position to defend on inside breaking routes. But, you know, there would be a disadvantage to that because with him aligned further this way, your opponent would see that that outside receiver is definitely one-on-one with the alignment of the safety, or they may decide to attack more deep into the outside where you have one-on-one coverage on that number one receiver. So, you know, there's a little bit of give and take. The advantage of keeping them this way is, you know, we give the illusion that he's capping the defenders to the right. So this will discourage your opponent from drawing up routes to attack where you are actually weak. Again, this is what part 1 midpoint was all about. My very first video for Madden 26 this year. That midpoint feature, you know, it's really good in a lot of different ways to where you are weak in a certain area of your coverage, but you hide that weakness by alignment alone, which discourages your opponent from attacking there with a particular route and encourages them to attack elsewhere where you may be actually strong. Okay, it's a way to hide weakness with alignment alone and not with coverage. All right. So there's different things we could probably do with midpoint, weak, pinch, and all that. Okay, but I'm just throwing that on your plate. But the main thing about this video, again, was call palms. You make the subtle adjustment with the alignment here with these two players, and you play palms or you play hot quarters coverage. All right, I'll leave it at that. I hope you got something from this video, and I hope you keep coming back for more, Matt. Peace.